Ladies and gentlemen, I want to, on this second day of January, take the time to speak to you. And I'm going to be as direct as I can without adding in anything extra. I'm not going to be explaining too much, so this will be kind of short. But this right here is what Mr. Richard Fuller saw back in 1998, 99. Met Mr. Richard Fuller in Arizona. And Mr. Richard Fuller was literally a rocket scientist, and he was incarcerated. I met him in Arizona. I forgot the location, but Richard had heard me talking to individuals who were incarcerated, and he heard me explaining things to them about the law. So don't think that I just started doing this now, and I didn't start doing it then. When I say I've been doing this for 42 plus years, I joke with you not. So he heard me talking, and Richard pulled me to the side. Now, Richard was one of the, if you want to call him a guru, you hear about all these guys. I've forgotten about Winston Strout for a moment there, but you hear about all of them. Richard Fuller is in that class because he is one of those old schoolers who had that knowledge before computers and internet and all of that stuff. That was Richard Fuller. And he pulled me to the side, but he was a legalese person. He was the law. And I have told the story many times about how I would write a motion and he would, man, make me tear it up. Talk about 20, 39-page handwritten, spending hours on that stuff. And Richard would just tear it up and say, nope, that's not it. Because he would tell me my approach was wrong. The way I was explaining it was wrong. Although I was explaining the situation, I wasn't explaining it legally. I was explaining it as if I was writing a book, which is not the same thing. And so he said, after about a month, he says, I want to show you something. And that's because we had had daily talks, while they had this thing, rec yard stuff, everybody would be out there. No, he and I would be either in the library. This has always been my routine. I'm always in someone's stupid library, okay? And I'm always researching the finer points of something. Just like I did a video yesterday talking about a gentleman mentioned something to me, and because he mentioned that particular phrase, I had heard something similar in the past. So I said, nope, let me go ahead and look it up now. And recaptures memory. Richard says he wanted to show me, so he asked me, what did the word redress mean? And I did like everybody else, to readdress something is what I said. Other people usually say to get dressed again, to bring something forward again, and that's not the word. The word literally is not phonics. The word is to correct something that is wrong. It also means compensation or reparations. So the First Amendment secures in every person the right to petition to correct whatever wrong was done. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for 93 years, we have been in a state of national emergency. Congress has taken us, and that's what this takes you through, into a state of unrecognition. Now, I don't care about the Republic, and I don't. I could care less because it doesn't care about me. It's never cared about me. It's not cared about you. Why? Because of how it was structured in the first place. This was a group of rich individuals speaking up ahead of the people. You know how it is. Everybody gives the rich person more credit because he's got money. Thus, if you know anything about scripture, it talks about letting the person with the money sit in the front of the quote unquote congregation because they got money, and treating them as if they're special. Well, go back and look at the Constitution and how everything came about. Those who had money had the bigger voice. This was an experiment. That's true, but not one created by me. So I don't mind the setup. The setup is okay. I benefit from the setup. So if I benefit from it, then I accept the benefits and the obligations that go with it. Well, one of those obligations is to speak up when I see something going wrong with this thing they call government. We have Congress who admits on the record that they violated your rights. We have the executive branch who Congress admits on the record knew they violated your rights. And then the Supreme Court initially said, oh, well, no, no, y'all can't do that. That's unconstitutional. And then Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, said, all right, I tell you what, if you don't support these provisions, then what we'll do is we will stack the court and we'll get it done anyway, but you won't be a Supreme Court justice anymore. Now remember, Supreme Court justices sit life tenure. So he's saying eventually we're going to move you out of where you sit and we're going to replace you with someone else who's going to appreciate what we're trying to do here. And so the Supreme Court capitulated and said, okay, fine, it's legal. Huh? That's stupid. That's been the government ever since. Military. But the gold French flag, that doesn't mean anything. Nobody said anything about a gold French flag. We said military. The Trading with the Enemy Act is a military act. Says it right there in the act. It was done for times of war. Well, they applied a wartime act. And remember, the military is there to defend against foreign invasion. They are a branch of government, but they have no power over the people because no power has ever been delegated to the military over the people. But Congress delegated that power to them. Congress didn't have the right to delegate power of the military over the people because the people had never envisioned such. As a matter of fact, they fought against such. That's why they had the revolution in the first place, to kick the British out of here, because they were being ruled by a military occupying force. That's the whole first section of the Declaration. Is how individuals can come together and fight against such governance. Now, I'm not here to fight against anything. This is not a protest. No, please pay attention. This is not a protest. This is a petition for redress. There's a big difference. Now, already many people have signed up, and I don't think this is a glitch. The memorial and congressional petition. I don't think this is a glitch because I'm able to see, like I said, you guys are going to be able to see people's signatures. You're going to be able to see where. Now, some of you are being coy. Pay attention. You don't have to put the zip code, but like I said, city, state, necessary. Those of you who you got your situation where you're going to, what's the word for it? You're going to not want to follow instructions. That's the best way I can put it. You're going to want to not follow instructions. Like we have a couple of them that don't have any signatures. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, get back over here. 6, 7, 8 individuals whom there isn't a signature. And I know, now watch this. I want everybody to see what's going on. Watch this. We're going to go to the signature spot. Now I'm just going to take my mouse so I know the signature works. So those of you who are not going to follow instructions, it's okay because I will remove your information on the back end. I'm not going to let you mess this up for everyone else. That it makes no sense to allow that. Again, it's simply put, it's straightforward. It's not complicated. The document is there for you to read. It's not going to be altered or changed. Okay, it's not going to, it has the sovereign citizen recognition by Congress. It has your right to a common law adjudication. Not that statutory administrative adjudication that they do in the courts? Let me see if I can explain. Many of you are involved in a traffic court of some type or another. Traffic courts are not constitutional courts. They never can be. They're enforcing mere regulations and statutes. Well, those are not laws. They never have been. But people don't understand that. You have the right to a trial, not a hearing. Yeah, I know the Supreme Court says everyone has the right to a hearing and notice and all of that, but you don't understand. The Constitution never said you did not have a right to a trial as long as the controversy. Seventh Amendment is very clear. The value in controversy shall exceed $20. It says in suits at common law where the value that is a finite shall exceed is a mandatory provision. The right, not privilege, shall be preserved. By whom? You. You are the one who preserves that right for yourself, not them. This is not a right that's given to you. This is a right that you retain. And no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court in the United States than according to the rules of common law. Now, that's been abused because they found a way to abuse that, but that's not the point. Those are the words. And until it is amended by the people, that's the law. So follow the law is all we're saying. We're telling Congress we have a right to access the judicial branch. We've not had access to the judicial branch. So this is to highlight this and to get some corrections. Now, look, we don't expect that they're going to change night into day. We don't expect that everybody's going to be singing hallelujah, praise the Lord. They're going to continue to do what they do like they did after the last time in 1973. Pay attention, everyone. The last time this was done was 1973. Now, there were a lot of changes. They got rid of a lot of so-called laws, but the only problem is they left the major abridging laws in force. Why? It's all about control. So, this website, and I just made some updates to the header and everything. This is that legal document preparation, and then we have the there ain't no more frequently asked questions. Okay, I got to remove that. I'll take care of that later. And then we have the ledger. The ledger is free for you all to use anytime. There is nothing on this site. I can't promise in the future, but I can say for a fact now, there is nothing on this site that will charge you. You'll not have to pay a dime. Whew. Now, I may update the ledger. Okay, as a matter of fact, I think I will update the ledger to make sure everything works fine because I've made some tweaks to it, but I haven't focused on it. So I think in about 15 minutes, I will focus on the ledger for those of you who have some tax issues. In other words, this is just not about that type of redress, but it's about total redress. Many of you don't understand taxes. You think it's so difficult. You have the GPT models, you have ChatGPT, and you have the other models that you can upload documents into those models for free. You have Z.ai. Now, I am a fan of Z, the letter Z, as in zebra, dot AI. It's free. Okay, not only is it better than most of the other AI models out there that I've experienced, and I don't work for Z, they're not contributing nothing to my campaign. I approve this. No, they're not giving me nothing. I've been using them nonstop for the last 5 days, testing them out. And I have a lot of respect for Z. Okay? So that's free. You take the IRS form, you put it into Z. If there's a publication associated with it, you upload that publication as well. Now, there is a limit to the size of the information you can put in. So if you have a PDF that's too big, go to one of those free sites that allows you to reduce the size of the PDF without removing any pages and reduce the size and upload it into the system. Have the system review the document because it's only reading the words. and then ask it to explain it to you as if you were a 14-year-old. Why? I keep explaining to people, 14-year-olds, the way they operate, they're not like 13-year-olds. 13-year-olds, Lord have mercy, 13-year-olds really don't care about much. Okay? 15-year-olds think they know everything, but 14-year-olds, that's the group, the spot where they don't trust nobody. They sit back and they observe. They're not just going to take your word for anything. They're going to question you. They're going to ask you why. They're going to call you stupid. They're going to say, "Oh man, that's stupid. That's get out of here." They're not easily swayed. So you're going to ask ChatGPT to explain it to you as if you were a 14-year-old. It won't give you any nonsense because they're trained to mimic that type of mentality. And so you go with GPT. Okay? Ask it to explain it to you when you're dealing with taxes and get a better understanding that way. And then you can proceed. Ask the questions you've been wanting to ask. You are trying to figure things out. Let me give you an angle because I'm getting ready to head in that direction. So you might as well jump on the bandwagon. Cash equivalent. I want to convert instruments so that they are recognized as cash equivalent. Just that simple. That's my angle. That's where I'm going because that's where the others are. The ones who are trillionaires. NVIDIA, pay attention, is a so-called $4 trillion company. You think they became a $4 trillion company without causing damage or harm to people, and now they're investing in Israel? You think they're a $4 trillion company on their own? Ladies and gentlemen, you don't want to be a trillionaire. But what you want to do is be able to take care of your finances. So recognize a sole proprietor only counts its income after they document all expenses associated with the business. A sole proprietorship, let's go by what the courts say, is the same as the individual. So the individual's expenses, if he uses the accrual method, means everything. The individual, the cost of living, because that is your business. Okay, I'm in the business of living. It doesn't matter. You can be in any business as long as it has an economic impact. Wait, are you sure? Go and research it. Don't say I can do any business I want as long as it has an economic impact. You actually can do that. But don't say I can consider living as a business, can I? Don't do that. Don't ask those type of questions because the system will automatically hit red flag, censorship, censorship, censorship. You have to ask the system, is it possible for an individual to conduct business and use the accrual method? And it'll tell you yes. You're not using the accrual method, but you use it every single day. I've already explained when you go to the store and you put a product in your shopping cart, you just took possession, but you haven't paid for it yet. Don't go by the I'm in a store yet and I don't own it. The store still owns it. No, the moment you put it in that cart, you've taken possession. It's called intent. You intend on purchasing that. That's the accrual method because you're paying for it later. You acquired the product and you're going to pay for it later. See, what you don't understand, the accrual method is a set of principles, procedures, regulations. Sorry, I got to turn Prince off because that's the alarm. He is dreaming when he wrote it. And so he says, excuse him if he goes too fast. Ladies and gentlemen, the accrual method is there for you to use. Learn how to use it. This handles the accrual method. And that's what it does for you. Now, I got some work to do on it, like I said, but for now, practice with it. You guys are looking for someone to do your taxes, help you with your taxes. You're looking for CPAs and accountants. Well, we're going to create a ledger to help save you a lot of time. Some of you are going to understand how important it is. Some of you aren't. I can only say this is being put out here for those who are interested. Okay? All right. And it's a simple app to use. Now, with that, then we have a petition for redress. This is for those of you who are dealing with courts and so forth. Take a look at it and you can go ahead and amend it, add to it. This is yours to correct. Okay? And edit. You can create a document online right now. You can format it however you want. You have your ability of creating your own document. This site is created for you guys. It's not created for e-commerce or anything like that. It's created for you to have access. From time to time, I will add to the site. There'll be many more features. But for now, the main feature of this site is this petition because, and sorry, I'm using a VPN, and so it says, oh, and it's unsecure until this afternoon. I will take care of that security. But because we're not taking any individuals' monies, as in credit card information, but because you are signing it, we're going to go ahead and take care of the security. As a matter of fact, I will give them a call now to make sure that they take care of that. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, now we have a secure site. So the certificate is there, taken care of. I noticed it the other day, but then because I'm doing the video and I notice it now, let's go ahead and show you that you don't have any worries. The site is encrypted and your information is encrypted. However, as we said before, because this document here is a public document, we made it possible for you to view the signatures. That's all you're viewing. The name, first and last. You don't have to put middle, just first and last. Your city and state. You don't have to put a zip code. If you want to, you can. Okay, now technically with petitions, they require a zip code. We don't need an address because you're signing electronically. The actual computer system automatically documents your IP address. We don't store your IP address. The fact that you're accessing the site electronically, the computer system keeps a tag of everyone who accesses any system, any portal. There is no such thing as anonymity or hiding yourself or anything like that, because even when you try to hide yourself, there's still a tag. So what I'm trying to suggest is nobody's trying to get your information. I keep trying to tell people I'm not trying to get something from you because I don't want anything. My job is to give information, not to take. So go ahead. You'll see that I only asked for something from you guys maybe 3 times in the past 5 years. And in the whole time I've been doing YouTube videos, maybe 7 times. And it's either help me communicate something, help me dial a number, get their attention, or I asked for assistance in taking care of some things financially. And individuals came to my aid. And I stopped. There are people now who, and this is the last thing we're going to talk about, there are people now who are donating. I don't have the time to reach out to everybody. I get too many emails a day. I've been up since about 4 o'clock this morning and finally got in front of the computer at 5:40. The only problem is I didn't go to sleep until 12:30. So less than 4 hours of sleep, and I will be in front of this computer until 7, 8 o'clock tonight because this is every day. I have a consult who just asked, "Are we still on?" And I told him yes. I have a consult later today, and if you all understood exactly how much energy it takes out of me to do the consults, because that is focusing on one person's problems and trying to come up with solutions to help the individual. That's not easy. And doing that on a regular basis, like I said, eventually I'm going to have to come to a stop because it's going to be too much of wear and tear. But I'm doing more wear and tear on me by trying to get this up before we even start the new program, trying to get this website up for you guys, because this is being done for you. That's why we added all of the other features to the site so that you can see that we're not just here to take from you. So, oh, I'm sorry. I should tell you, we're working on that ledger in the background. So I'm killing two birds, one stone. I told you I was going to work on it. All right. So I'm working on the ledger in the background to improve and enhance that. I'll do a video letting you know when I've done that. Until then, have a very good day. If you want to join the petition, you can read it here. All of the things it talks about. It is not just one or two things. The idea is to say, hey, Congress, you've already admitted these facts on the record. You've already stated these facts on the record. This is facts and conclusions of law. The investigation has already been done. Remember, the Senate committee was an investigative committee. So the investigation has already been done. There's no need for them to do another investigation. So there's no need for 3, 4, 5 years to go by. You feel me? The investigation has already been done. The only thing we need to do is get redress, which is why it's a redress petition. All right. Got to let you guys go. Want you all to have a very good day. We'll speak to you soon. Take care of yourselves.